Probably the single greatest sporting event that's ever happened in human history occurred yesterday, and you had absolutely no idea. Thank goodness I am here to fill you in because there is a derby that goes beyond any other derby. The Virgin Derby. Now, I'm not talking about olive oil here. I am talking about that match specifically, the British Virgin Islands against the United States Virgin Islands. These are two nations with actual national football teams that, and this is true, they suck. Now, this is not surprising, right? But when you look at the men's rankings for FIFA, that's the bottom. Eritrea is there because they are not, they don't play anybody. They haven't played a match in enough time to be ranked. San Marino's at the bottom because they play in Europe and everybody they play is typically a lot better than them. But I guarantee you San Marino would beat the shit out of these four teams. We have Anguilla, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and Turks and Caicos Islands. I would bet the mortgage. I would bet the entirety of the U.S. Treasury Department on San Marino being able to beat any of those four teams. I want to preface this as well by saying that I believe every member of the U.S., British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, and Turks and Caicos is way better than I am, right? There are tiers here, right? We're talking about people that are representing a national team, and out of a large lineup of athletic dudes, they are the best athletic dudes to represent their national team. Even though in the case of a country like Anguilla, there's like less than 20,000 people on the island. In Turks and Caicos, they post flyers to hold tryouts for the national team. And the British Virgin Islands has tentatively 35,000 people on it. The U.S. Virgin Islands has over 100,000 people on it, so they have less of an excuse, but they are also the U.S. Virgin Islands, so, maybe they're not as invested in the game. I don't know, but what I can tell you they're invested in is this match, because this is the opening round of World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF, which is you probably know this, North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, obviously. And opening round is four teams, literally those four teams, the Virgins, and then Turks and Caicos and Anguilla. Okay, like the four worst teams in the world that aren't San Marino according to the ranking. But again, I guarantee you San Marino would beat all of these teams. These are the four worst teams in the world when it comes to national teams. And that means we got some banger matches. First was the Virgin Derby, which, I mean, I don't know the origin story of the name. I clearly enjoy it and think that it's funny. I've actually been to the British Virgin Islands. I have no idea how they managed to put a national team together at all. The people there are lovely, but the entire country is like it's 12 or so like tips of underwater mountains, basically. So there's like no flat land anywhere. It literally just looks like you just took the Alps and flooded it, and you just like everybody's living on like these little peak shaped islands that just kind of row either side of what is like this giant bay. It's a really weird part of the world. It's a really weird country. I don't even know how they keep it together enough to even get a national team on the field. And the first leg was 1-1. The first leg result was 1-1. In this match was 0-0. It actually went all the way to penalties before the British Virgin Islands proved that being ranked literally one higher than the U.S. Virgin Islands does matter, because they won on a penalty shootout, with the winning goal scored by a dude named Azarni Colwood, which, beside the fact that it's just an absolutely sick name, this website that I use called Flash Score, I don't know why I use it. It's just the one that I fell into using. There may be a better one out there. It's not an endorsement at all. But he is not somebody whose club participation is recorded at all, right? He is he has 4 registered matches, I guess, and this being one of them. He's the guy, like, no picture, no listings, nothing. This is from a website that if I was particularly curious on the happenings of the Bosnian League, I could check that out, right? I don't even know what senior team. I can look at the Brazilian regional U20 league, and I can hop into the Cameroonian league, the relegation group, the championship group, the Costa Rican league, the Djiboutian league, right? And I'm going to be able to get likely more information, right, than I am getting from any of these players, right? At least all of this information exists in the first place. This isn't a footballing backwater. This is Pluto. It's not even a planet. It is amazing how far off from everything else this is, and that right? If it feels like I'm shitting on it, I don't want to be, because that is why I love it. I love the fact that in the same tournament that eventually one of the greatest players in the history of the game will lead one of the big nations to eventually winning it, we have at the very start of it a bunch of local dudes like a Zarni Callwood battling some dude from 5 minutes away. Because I'm saying the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, they are right next to each other. This is a derby. Everybody knows each other. Okay, like my university that I went to in the United States, University of Virginia, about the same side as the British Virgin Islands. You know everybody there, right? And in the United States Virgin Islands, there's an arbitrary line dividing the island chain. Like there are all those other dudes are over there, and you probably know them too. I would imagine the footballing communities are even smaller. And this is, I think, the closest we can get to what football was like 100 years ago. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that the modern game, there's so much money in it, so much fan interest, so much this, so much that, so many Lambos. Not that there's anything wrong with getting a Lambo. But maybe the reason I love this is I feel like this is one of the few places in the world where you are entirely separated from that. It's, we're going to get our best dudes together. You get your best dudes together. We will meet you in the middle, and we will play a freaking game. And we will settle this old school. And they settled it. U.S. Virgin Islands got a freaking red card in this game. I would love to see what that red card looked like, right? But this is all the down. I want to go to one of these matches one day, right? I mean, this is like the only time they play. It's always the first round of World Cup qualifying. The British Virgin Islands now gets to go to the second round, which is an amazing experience for them because, they're going to be able to play against teams like Jamaica, right? Teams, with real legit pro players, teams that can go on the field and compete and are going to Copa America, right? They're going to Copa America later on this summer. That they're going to be playing against a team like the British Virgin Islands. Those guys, my boy is Zarni Callwood, they're going to get that experience. And they're not the only ones, right? As much as I love the Virgin Derby and the idea of this island chain that was just split arbitrarily by two world powers that just get forced to play against each other, right? Anguilla had never been to the second qualifying round. They've never gotten out of the first round, ever. They hadn't won a game since 2010. Well, guess what they did? They won on penalties. You know who scored the goal? Kian Duncan. And shout out to my boy Kian Duncan for actually having a picture in the damn thing. Yo, Anguilla's bringing a dude over from England? Are you kidding me? I don't know where this team is. I got to figure out where this team is. Anguilla's got a dude to their national team who is playing in the Combined Counties Football League, Southern Football League Premier Division. What level is that? Levels 9 and 10. I mean, it's not Sunday League, but we're getting close. At level 9 and 10, you're getting close. And that dude is flying all the way over to the Caribbean to represent an island nation that he is at the very least descended from, and scoring this big goal. Kian Duncan, salute to you, dude. Because Anguilla is never going to make a World Cup. That's never going to happen. Same as Liechtenstein and Gibraltar and San Marino are never going to make the Euros, right? So what do you play? Why do you have a national team? This is why. It's for this moment. It's to be able to, like, I grew up in Florida, so I know a lot of Caribbean people. I've been to the Caribbean a lot. The culture in the Caribbean is very insular. And, Anguilla wants to beat Turks and Caicos, not because they even really care about the fact that they get to go to the next round. They want to beat them so they have bragging rights over Turks and Caicos, right? Like, that's why they want to win this match, and they got it. And I'm so happy for them. And I'm disappointed that the U.S. Virgins lost, obviously. That's a real shame. But I'm happy for the British Virgin Islands, too. I'm happy that this exists. And I realize that if I am able to successfully make too many people care about it, I will cause the same problem that's happened everywhere else. But I honestly don't think, I don't think that's possible. Because even if a bunch of people care about it, British Virgin Islands against U.S. Virgin Islands is always going to be the dudes from over here against the dudes from over there. Right? Anguilla is importing their talent, right? They're tapping into their diaspora to go get a 9th division player from the UK. I don't even know who's paying to fly that dude over. I wonder if he's like investing his own money or if that's just all the Anguilla FA is investing in. I don't know. But I would love to go to one of these matches. I love the fact that they're happening. the entire point of me sitting here talking about it is to let you know that this sort of thing is happening. That Anguilla made it to the second round of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying for the first time ever, and that the British Virgin Islands won the Virgin Derby. And we will be back here in 4 years doing it again in the first round of CONCACAF qualifying. And that's just the beauty of the game, Lance. It's just the beauty of the game, ain't it? That's what it's all about, you know? Hey, one more idea. Why can't we get a worst World Cup? I mean, FIFA's got all this money. It's throwing it around. They're doing that whole friendly competition now where they're bringing a lot of clubs from all over. Are you telling me you wouldn't watch the bottom 32 teams on this list play? I mean, not only would I watch it, I believe a lot of other people would watch it. And I think it would be a real point of pride for a lot of these teams. I think in the same way that Anguilla playing against Turks and Caicos, like Anguilla knows it's not good. The British Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands know that if they're playing actual national teams, like even a Jamaica in the next round, they're never going to be able to compete with a team like that. But if you actually get to play in a legit tournament where you are against other nations of your caliber, then that might be fun. I mean, while FIFA's throwing the money around, I just thought I'd kick around an idea. I did do it on Football Manager one time. That was like one of my more fun YouTube ideas. We did simulate like a worst World Cup, but Indonesia kind of ruined it because for some reason they were ranked low enough to make it in at the time, and they won like pretty easily. But yeah, the worst team was American Samoa. I don't know where they are here. There they are. They're at 188. They're flying now. That's kind of crazy. Pakistan's one of the 10 biggest countries in the world. That always blows my mind. I want to watch Pakistan play the Cayman Islands. That's my, okay, screw the tournament. I want to watch 40,000 people from the Cayman Islands play like 100 million people from Pakistan. That's what I need. This is like an average 3 a.m. for me asking these questions. I need to go to sleep. The Virgin Derby happened. British Virgin Islands won. Party it up in the BVI. All right, bye.